Hi guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to FemEd. But I wanted to sit down and share the story of buying our house because it happened very fast, which I'll get into. We hadn't really seriously been looking at houses up until that point. We had gone to a few open houses, like just for something to do on a Sunday. And we hadn't even gone to like our bank to get pre-approved for anything. Like didn't do any of the steps before looking at houses. Like we didn't have a realtor, we didn't have anything. And we were sitting at home in our apartment one day, and one of our friends sent us a link to a folder of pictures and said, look at this house. It just really reminded me of you guys. It's so cute. It's gonna be going up on the market soon. Michael and I were flipping through the pictures and we were just like, oh my gosh, this is such a cute house. It was just north of the neighborhood we really wanted to live in. So we're like, oh, what the heck, we'll go look. I figured out who the realtor was because it hadn't been listed yet. And I wrote her on Facebook and said, a friend shared the photos with us and we want to know when it's gonna be on the market, what it's gonna be listed for. She sent back all the information and Michael had guessed what he thought it was going to be listed for. And what they were selling it for was $100,000 less. And we're like, oh my gosh, we could actually probably afford this. Granted, we didn't know at this point because we had not gotten pre-approved. We got in as her first appointment of the day because that afternoon at like 1 p.m. we were jumping on a plane to go down to Phoenix because Michael was announcing a race down there. We go through the house and we're like, this is really cute. This is, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Oh my gosh, we love this. It was just one of those things where we loved the house, absolutely loved it. They had done such a good job at modernizing it, updating it, keeping it in good condition. Quick note, I forgot to say when I was originally filming this that our house was built in 1937. So when I say they did a good job at modernizing it and keeping it updated is what I mean, because it was built in 1937. There's a lot of houses in the different neighborhoods we look at where they're older and they're really cute and quaint on the outside, but you go in and it's, you know, a retired couple that has been living there for 40 years and it looks like someone has been living there for 40 years and the style and everything hasn't changed in the inside. And so you knew you would have to do some sort of like renovations, updating and that sort of stuff. So the fact that we get the old house charm with all of the modern updates and appliances was just amazing. So anyways, we found out that even though we were the first viewing of the day, there had already been an offer put in. I think it was maybe a friend of the family, and the realtor told us that, you know, they had the one offer already. They had 14 other showings that day, and they were going to be making a decision the next day at noon. And we're like, oh my God. But in our mind, we're like, okay, what do we need to do to even be able to put an offer? What does that look like? Are we even approved for this much? And can we get this all done by tonight when we need to send in our offer letter? And we were getting on a plane in a few hours. We called one of our friend's mothers who is a realtor and said, we want to buy a house. And she said, that's great. We should get together sometime, have coffee, and we'll talk about what you're looking for, where you're looking and all of that. And Michael's like, no, we found a house. We want you to be a realtor and help us get it because we don't know what we're doing. And she's like, oh, okay. I don't know how we pulled it off, but we were trying to go through our bank to get pre-approved for amount so we could put in an offer. And they're like, we're not gonna have it into you by the end of the day. And we're like, well, we need this because the house is gonna be gone by then. Our realtor hooked us up with, I don't know if it was like their loan person or whatever. We filled out the loan application or the pre-approval, whatever loan application on the runway before taking off for our flight down to Phoenix. Michael wrote a letter to the owners on the flight, you know, telling them this is why you should pick us, blah, blah, blah. When we landed in Phoenix, we had been approved for a loan, which is insane. By that night, that we had seen the house that morning, finally had everything in place to where we could sit down, like take a breath and finally have the conversation of, is this crazy? Is this actually the house we want? Is this silly? And his parents winter down in Arizona, so they had come over to our hotel room And we were talking to them about, you know, like, is this crazy? Like, are we being dumb? Is this frivolous? And they said, no, like, if you know you love it, it's the right price, this, that, and everything. And they talked us through it. So we sent in our offer, I guess, and our, you know, realtor was amazing and helped us with all the paperwork for everything to send that into them. And then we called the owner's realtor because we had befriended her during our tour. But she had told us that there were 5, I think there was 5 offers total, including ours or on top of ours. So somewhere around 5 offers. They were gonna be choosing the next day. And so we were really hopeful, and like, I think we both had a good feeling about it. I was like, it's our letter that's gonna get it. We asked more than the list price because we knew how many offers there were already, and we, you know, went back and forth with the realtor, like, what's like too much of a crazy amount to offer. And so we sent it all in. So the next day, Michael's announcing at a race. Our realtor calls us and says, would you be willing to, because we said if we were to get it, we wanted to take it over sometime in June, because Michael had a big race at the beginning of June and we didn't want to deal with it until that point. And so she called us and asked, would you be willing to take over the house on May 21st? And we're like, not really, but if that's the thing, that's like, that's the sticking point, of course, we'll, you know, God, what is that? I don't even know the terms. We'll move up the, what is that word, term? A while later, she calls back, and I'm like freaking out at this point because I'm like, oh my God, like, they're considering us. But eventually found out that it came down between our offer and another offer. We had both offered the same amount, and it was, you know, a certain amount above the asking price. Then our realtor calls us back, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm standing. Well, I'm not standing by Michael because he's working and announcing. And she says, congratulations, you guys like have a house. And I was like, holy, like, oh my God, what? Like, we had literally barely seen it 24 hours ago. It was insane. So I like sprint across this park to try to find Michael at the finish line, and he's like on the microphone announcing with his people. And I was like, and he like looked at me and I was like, we got a house, it's ours, it's ours. And so he came over and we like celebrated, and it was just like such a surreal moment. Come to find out that it had come down between us and another couple, I want to say, and I'm pretty sure that this other couple was the current owner's friend and they chose us over them, and it was our letter. It was a letter that Michael wrote about them because they had a son who was like 5 or 6, I want to say. We learned while we were touring that when they bought the house, they were pregnant with their son, and I was very pregnant at that time with Theo because I think it was about April, so I was visibly pregnant as well, and they chose us. So we're like, oh my God, we have a house. And then came all the paperwork. I mean, there's so much you have to do before you actually get the house. So like once they accept your offer, then you have to have an inspection, your mortgage loan, find home insurance. So that was about a year ago in April. On May 21st, I remember that. That was when we actually got the keys to the house. We came to the house before we went and signed the final like loan paperwork and everything, and it was empty. They handed us the keys. We like took a picture in front of the house with the sold sign. It was raining that day, like I was pregnant. It was so cute. We had to keep our apartment through the end of June, and just with like race stuff going on, Michael really was like holding on to our apartment because he's like, once it's over, it's over. And we had lived there for 6 years together. It was a sad, sad day moving out of our apartment, but I was just so ready. I mean, I was in like full on pregnancy nesting mode at this point. Well, I remember all of June just like taking a load over once a day sort of thing, and I'm very pregnant in June. But we had the end of June to get out of our apartment. At a certain point, we rented a box truck and had all of his interns at the time come and help us, and moved like the big pieces of furniture, like the mattresses, the beds, the piano, the couch, and like grabbed the last few things from our apartment. It was nighttime, it was beautiful, like the whole downtown skyline, and we just stood, and like, you guys remember the big arch windows in our apartment, and we just stood in one of them and just like looked out, and we were just like sobbing. And we got on the elevator sobbing, and there was people on the elevator, and we just started laughing because we're like, we just look like a mess. And she was probably like, what's going on? Like, do they have a fight? Is everything okay? Because yeah, we were just like blubbering. It's literally over a 3-day period. I don't know if you guys caught all of that. Wednesday morning is when the friend sent us photos. Thursday morning is when we went and viewed the house. Thursday night is when we put in our offer. And then Friday around like 11 or noon was when our offer got accepted. 3 days. Insane. We absolutely love our house. I mean, you kind of seen bits and pieces from videos, but there's our bedroom and then Theo's bedroom and the like master bathroom, and that's the top floor, and then the main floor is a dining room, kitchen, bedroom, half bath, living room, and then the basement is a finished like living room and bathroom, but it's not updated, and then an unfinished like storage, laundry, furnace, water heater, and all that scary stuff. And then we have a really nice backyard. We just absolutely love it. I oddly don't miss our apartment. I get nostalgic for it sometimes. Anytime we're like downtown and we drive by the building, it's like, I'm like, Theo's never gonna know, like, you know, I was pregnant with him the entire time in that apartment, and he's never like gonna be in it, and that's crazy to me. But yeah, we were in the house when I had Theo. I labored here for a very long time, and then I went to the hospital and had him, and we brought him back here. So we waited a long time to tell people, like, we didn't show his parents until when we got the keys because we wanted to surprise them. But I didn't tell like friends and stuff for the longest time because there's just so much back and forth, and I don't want to tell everyone like, oh, we bought a house, and then have something go wrong and then I have to like take it back. I don't know, probably silly of me. Yeah, but just like, it just all happened so quick and just so much was happening that I just never sat down and talked about it. But we bought a house. It definitely feels like our home now. I've gotten so many requests to do a home tour, house tour, and it's not gonna happen anytime soon. At first, when everyone started asking, I just had Theo, and I was feeling like super protective of my newborn baby, and just these ideas of like people somehow finding where we live just freaked me out. We didn't have a dining room table for the longest time. We don't like have the coffee table in the living room we want, like, and I know people will say like that doesn't matter, but I don't want to like share it until I feel like it's done. And I know it will like never be done, but done enough to where it feels worthy of a house tour. There's still things I want to change. It's a perfect amount of space, and that's something that we said when we looked at it and we were deciding on whether we wanted to put an offer, was it's the perfect amount of space. My camera keeps stopping recording, so I think I need to wrap this up. Maybe sometime in the future, but I'm sorry I'm not going to do a house tour anytime soon. But that is the story of how we got our house. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. While we're in quarantine right now, I like to call it, I've named it Barbie Dream House, and there's like different renovation projects we want to do, and we're looking at like the backyard and just redoing like the patio. So I think I'm gonna make that into like a video series if we do end up doing that, but right now we're just like letting it percolate in our brains because why not? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!